Okay, well, Anthony Hayes, you're the Chief Executive of Tourism Queensland.
I am, for my sins. Yes.
For your sins, okay. But, you know, somewhere that's been maligned and badly reported in the press and, you know, floods and cyclones and everything. So you've been the man at the helm of what was recovery. Tell me a bit about how you handled all that and what the future holds for Queensland.
Oh, look, it has been the most frustrating couple of months for us, largely because our tourism industry came out of the recent challenges pretty much unscathed. Certainly, you know, there are a few operators at Mission Beach and Dunk Island and so on that'll be doing it tough for quite a while. Yeah. But the vast majority of our tourism areas were completely untouched, but the perception was that, you know, there's been damage, and as a result the phone stopped ringing. So we've been very aggressively trying to get out there, inviting people to come back and have a look for themselves, because the damage, what damage there was, is now gone.
But is that enough of a sort of catalyst or a reason to get people to come back, you know? Because the dollar's so high, competition's so tough, Bali's so cheap, Fiji's so cheap, getting people to actually take a holiday in Queensland, is it enough?
Well, I guess, again, the frustration for us was in the 6 months leading up to Christmas, our numbers were really strong, the industry was feeling really positive, and then we've had a bit of a kick in January. But there's no reason why we can't be back where we were. Yeah, look, there's always something going on. There's no point whinging about dollars or, you know, low-cost carriers or, you know, whatever. Everything is a positive and a minus in some way. All we can do is be as creative as we possibly can, be as aggressive as we possibly can, get that story back out there right now that not only are we open, but we are desperately keen for the business.
It must have been very frustrating for you as well, though, because the media were responsible for a lot of this. So even in, I did a little bit of work and I was reporting in the UK about, you know, that people were saying, oh, there are floods in Brisbane, so don't go on holiday to Queensland. And I was explaining to people, well, actually, the distance between London and Rome is the same as the distance between Brisbane and Cairns, you know. But false reporting in the media or sort of sensationalism in the media must have been very difficult for you to handle. How did you deal with that?
Well, we are very fortunate in that the state government and the federal government have both provided $5 million each, so there's a $10 million pot of additional money that we're spending with Tourism Australia to get the message out there. A very large chunk of that, $800,000, we've actually allocated to, last week we hosted 200 journalists from all around the world, 120 from overseas, 60 or 70 from within Australia, and basically said, all right, well, you lot got us into this mess, we'll take you out and we will show you every single part of Queensland and you report on what you see. And so far, the stories have been absolutely wonderful because they had a great time. We put some effort into dazzling them, mind you. We put a lot of effort into making sure they did have a good time. But the stories that they are now writing have been really positive, and we think that, you know, tell a true story of where we're at.
This industry is absolutely full of small operators, though, okay? And these are small operators who are out to the bank for a large amount of money, overdrafts, loans, you know, leases, all this sort of stuff. What's your message for the industry in terms of, you know, post-recovery now, looking forward? Is there any sort of stimulus in terms of helping them to keep going, or are you talking to the banks or anybody to say, hey, lay off for a little while?
Yeah, the state and federal governments also allocated another $2 million, which we have provided in the forms of subsidies for operators to attend ATE, for example, for subsidies to do some of their sales calls, for training opportunities, for getting every single Queensland operator to join ATDW free of charge over the next 12 months. So we're trying to do little bits to make the burden a little less. But I think that the attitude simply has to be that for the 115,000 small businesses that are, you know, attached to tourism in Queensland, 115,000. It's a massive number of small businesses. They don't have a lot of cash flow at the moment because the phone stopped ringing. They don't have money to go out and do big sales and marketing campaigns, and that's our job, is to do that on their behalf. So we are very aggressively out there at the moment in the Australian domestic market. We're spending money in New Zealand, in Japan, in China, in the UK. We're running a global youth campaign aimed at bringing the backpackers back. Yep. I think it's just really important that we get out there with all of those messages as quickly as we can.
Brilliant. And then what about the regional tourism organisations within Queensland? They're working with you in all this?
I mean, it's all hands together when times get as tough as this. Tourism Australia have been phenomenal, to be perfectly honest. They have been just the most brilliant partners, and working in partnership with the key regional tourism organisations, you know, hosting of famils and doing a lot of work together. During ATE, we've launched our new big idea aimed at the incentives market, which is the $1 Million Memo. Oh, yeah. And again, working very closely closely with the Convention Bureau, with Tourism Australia, to make sure that we're not just chasing the leisure market, but now we're telling businesses that Queensland's a great place to incentivise your staff.
Well, Anthony, thanks for your time. That's a really good message, I think, particularly for small operators. And as you know, I live in Noosa, and there's a lot of small operators in Noosa hurting. I think it reassures them that somebody actually cares, because some of them think sometimes, you know, that there is nobody there backing them and that nobody cares. But here's to a speedy recovery to Queensland, and it deserves it. And good luck to you and you guys in the organisation in that.
And here's to some great sales this week.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.